countdown to the last comic shop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? It's the Last Comic Shop podcast. Martha!
No, that's it. I quit. I can't do this.
I'm with you, dude.
It was going so well. Before.
You had me until you said Martha. I'm out.
Meatball! How about that? Does that work better? Welcome back to the last week of Movie Mayhem. That's right, here on the Last Comic Shop podcast. I'm the host of the most, Andy Larson. I'm joined by J. Scott, Chad Smith, and Ethan Larson. Kind of a bookend of Ethan's for Movie Mayhem. He was on our first episode with Lone Wolf and Cub, and he is back for our final episode of Movie Mayhem 2026 as we review not only the sequel to our most downloaded episode of 2025, which I'm hoping will be our most downloaded episode of 2026, where we cover Volume 2 of the Absolute Batman trade.
Hold on, wait. You're excited for people to hear this, and you're starting with Martha?
Because there's a lot of Snyder bros that might have seen in the credits that we're also going to be covering Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, which you can watch on HBO Max now. 3 hours of Snyder-tacular great stuff. I was about to say greatness, but it's something.
Great, like a cheese grater, like across the face, like a pro wrestling match?
It's a vision, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Any case, that will be our movie review later on in the show. 10th anniversary of this. And again, we have Ethan to thank for his suggestions for this week's show. It was his idea to not only do some more Meatball Batman, but also cover this movie.
2 massive movies had a 10th anniversary this year. One of them being this one, and then the other one being Deadpool. And for whatever reason, we chose this one. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed Deadpool.
But what I enjoyed was Volume 2 of Absolute Batman, with all the Bane and Killer Crocs and all kinds of greatness. But we're going to get into that first because we are a comic book podcast. So Chad is going to give us the creators as well as the issues that are contained within Volume 2 of the Absolute Batman trade, which you can pick up at your local comic book shop today.
There you go. So the Absolute Batman hotness train continues with issues 7 through 14 in Volume 2. They are all written by Scott Snyder. Issues 7 and 8 were a bit of a fill-in from the traditional creatives because you have Scott Snyder writing, but Marcos Martin on art and Mutsa Vicente on colors. Clayton Cal is handling letters there. But that is a 2-part Victor Von Fries Jr. arc. And then you get to the main attraction. You get to Bane and those issues that run from 9 through 14. Scott Snyder on writing, Nick Dragotta on art, Frank Martin on colors, Clayton Cowell on letters, with the exception of Absolute Batman number 11, which has Clayman on art and Ivan Placencia on colors. Clayton Cowell's doing letters there as well.
Okay. Let's get into the 10-cent synopsis. How much steak are we jamming in these particular issues, J.A.?
Well, it depends if you're Bane, in which case it's a lot of steak. There's a lot of steak in there.
It's a lot of hormones.
After 2 issues of sort of setup with the Absolute Edition's Mr. Freeze, where the snow is laced with a chemical that can track people that are going to be interested by the Joker, who's in the background running things with Arc M. Batman and a lot of his friends get kidnapped and taken to Arc M, where they're experimented on. And this is also what created Bane, and so Batman goes through a bunch of different trials, and every time he tries to escape from Arc M, he runs into Bane, who smacks him down like a little bitch. Because if Batman is Meatball, then Bane is like
A porterhouse.
He's the whole loaf.
Meatloaf, that's right.
Yeah, there's many scenes where Bane is like crushing him.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Batman, the 400-pound main character.
Yeah, 412 pounds, 6'9". So it's basically
Yes.
like Shaq as Batman.
Bane mostly palms him like a grapefruit.
So Waylon Jones is also abducted and turned into Killer Croc. So in the beginning, he's a normal human, and by the end, he's a giant crocodile, alligator,
Dinosaur?
something.
Killer Croc, they told the story about how he was in a boxing match against one of Falcone's higher-up boxers, or is it mixed martial arts? I'm not sure. They do headlocks.
It's mixed martial
Yeah, it
arts.
was Absolute Universe. It's MMA, baby.
Yeah, I should have known with like 17 Red Bulls in the back. And sirens just blaring at all times. But no, there's this nice age-old story of like the Killer Croc's this like tremendous underdog, and he knows he's going to be beaten, but he doesn't want to give up. And even like Bruce, he works something out with Falcone to like, I guess, throw the fight after 6-7 rounds. But Waylon just stands up to this guy, and it's basically like tells the story of how Batman's standing up to Bane.
Yeah, and then towards the end, we get Catwoman showing up in her cat suit because she appeared earlier, but just as Selina, and Harley Quinn turns out to be the leader of this gang that's been sort of in the peripheral for
The Red Hoods. Not Jason Todd. It's all about Harley's Quinsons. Zelzels.
Oh, and there's a cameo by Dick Grayson too in a couple panels too. He's an EMT that's sick of he's an EMT that's sick of Batman's shit. So that's pretty apropos for Dick Grayson.
But that's the 10-cent synopsis. Setting up, really, in essence, the Rogues Gallery of the absolute Batman universe, right? By the end of these 14 issues, you've got pretty much everybody except the Joker. And they're teasing the Joker very, very heavily that he's going to show up. And he does. If you continue reading, issue 15, you get the origin of the Joker in the Absolute Universe.
Yes, that's because at the beginning of the Absolute Universe, all of Batman's friends are actually his Rogues Gallery, and by the end of this arc, they've all been turned into
they've been tortured and experimented.
Right.
Mainly
Harvey's
by
got
Bane.
half his face ripped off, so now he's actually Two-Face, and so you can see them going that way.
Oswald is he gets all of his bones broken, and he's only like 2 feet tall now, meaning that he's going to be the Penguin soon. Riddler has his brain hanging out and somehow doesn't die.
Seriously, still one of the coolest Batman villains out there. And the fact that they recast the entire Rogues Gallery as these Lovecraftian, Cronenberg-esque creatures is just, again, it's just turning everything up to 11, which is just awesome. Again, Batman didn't create these guys. Bane did. Arkham did. To get to Batman, I guess that's why they're pissed at him. The only person that seems to still be on his side is Selina, but Selina wasn't really experimented on. I mean,
we all know
okay.
why she's on his side. They show that in
That's
this
for
issue.
sure.
Within 3 pages.
I think the villains are angry with him that he was Batman the whole time and didn't clue them into it or went too far with it, or
right. And he got them involved. He had them helping to train him. He had them helping to do certain things or get into certain areas without them fully knowing what they were getting into. And then while he's locked up, they go and get his friends and they pay the price for the stuff that Bruce has done. So Bane's ultimate motivation is Bane is tired. He wants to be done. And so they find this Batman guy that they think is someone who could handle and endure the things that Bane has endured to become his successor. And so each time Batman tries to escape, Bane shows up and puts him back in his place. He's like, nope, not yet. I'm glad you're trying, though. Keep trying. And he wants to, he's taunting him the entire time. By the time Batman gets through some of these Arkham experiences, you can see he's sewn back together. He's stitched back together by the scientists there because they're slowly trying to rebuild him to be that successor to Bane. Who knows what they put inside? Who knows what they did to him? Batman has been Frankenstein together. He's just as much of a monster as Two-Face and Penguin.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
So does the venom then help him grow back his limbs, or do they just sew back the limbs that got chopped off?
Well, I mean, in the book you see that Bane has regenerative properties, obviously. Again, the end fight at this stadium where, like, Batman, what's the line? He's a genius at inflicting pain, like...
But what Batman lacks in speed, he makes up for in brutality. He's a genius of violence. And I've known some prodigies in my day, but he moves like a man ecstatic, a man born to do this very thing. He doesn't hesitate, not even when Bane regrows his eyeball. The kid revels in it. The bringing of blood from those who deserve it, the blood of the people who never saw their own in the open air. Man, so good. It's arguably the best way to describe what absolute Batman is. Leading up to this issue, everything's been building up to this fight. Even when you compare it to Volume 1, where he goes up against everybody in the Black Mask, that was just his baptism of fire. This is taking it one step further to being like, no. Now I'm ready to take on the Joker. I've been beat down and brought back, and now I'm really Batman, which is just kind of awesome. The sheer brutality of it, like when he's in that prison and he's like, oh, I'm going to pull out some of my teeth and use them as brass knuckles. And then that doesn't work. And so he tries more stuff and like things far beyond the capacity of a normal mortal man. But when you're 6'9" and 400 pounds, I guess there's a different set of rules that apply.
Making a bomb out of your urine.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this out here. What do you guys think of Bane as a character?
Like in general?
Yeah, just in general. Like,
it's weird. Back when he first came out with the Nightfall stuff and everything, he was like the Doomsday of the Batman universe. The only reason they created him was because they had Superman fight Doomsday. You know what works? Let's get a huge dude that can just inflict punishment on our main character. And although later on they added like he was super smart and he was a master tactician, and even here in these particular issues, I think this is actually the best. No, not the best Bane. The best Bane is in the Harley Quinn cartoon show. Like, if you want to Bane how he's supposed to be, I don't remember this being caviar.
the Tom Hardy one, you're not a fan of either?
No, I think they're all goofy as hell. Like, I think he's a dumb character. Compared to some of the other Rogues Gallery members of Batman, I think he was somebody that was brought in late, again, to cash in on Doomsday, to cash in on Venom, to cash in on those characters that are huge and can just break backs. All right, you can have a counter argument.
I'm not quibbling with you. I just think, he was always considered highly intelligent. The whole setup.
He's a tactician.
Where he weakens Batman by having him fight all these other dudes before he fights him and then breaks his back. And then he takes over all of Gotham's underworld. This isn't just some super strong dude. I mean, that was the shtick, right? He's super intelligent and super strong. So he's got two of the big things going for him.
But the thing Andy was talking about, I think he is the equal but opposite for Batman, right? He is your Venom to Spider-Man, not forgive the Venom because the whole Venom cursing through his veins things. But he's this guy, who's this master tactician. He's this guy who has this plan. He's also this guy who, in addition to being prepared, in addition to being cunning, in addition to, give him enough time, he's going to figure something out. He also has that jacked up through artificial means,
he's Mark McGuire.
About him.
He's Mark McGuire.
But he's the equal but opposite of Batman. Batman had broken bad and taken all the shortcuts. He's Bane.
Yeah. I guess what my problem is with Bane is that if you compare him to Venom, Spider-Man usually wins by just sheer power of will. Like, he's undeterred in his belief of being Spider-Man. So eventually he's going to win. But I don't see, like, Spider-Man relying on a lot of other people. Like, Bane in the movie, he gets hit by Catwoman's car. That's how he's written off. In this, it takes Batman 6 other people. It takes him Killer Croc. It takes him Catwoman to finally defeat Bane. And I guess if you're trying to think of it like I get by with a little help from my friends, and that's what makes me a master tactician, and maybe Batman, all he is, oh, these other people are helping me with my mission. I'm not really that great of a guy, period. I always had Robin. I've always had Alfred. I've always had money. I've always had the means to take care of this, not just sheer power of will. It kind of ticks me off a little bit to see Bane like put a bitch suit to Batman and then Batman never get his comeuppance unless it's like with the help of other people. But I don't know if that's supposed to be like what the point of Batman is like Batman is the surrounding cast. It's not Batman.
But I guess I'm curious. I'm going to pose a counter question to you. Everything about Absolute Batman to me, I think works because to me, Absolute Batman is very much like a manga series, right? A manga or an anime series in which you basically have this build up to a big fight, right? You keep on building up your main character. He's learning. He goes through his baptism. He gets stronger. He's stronger. And eventually, ding, 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 the lights go, and he has this big fight. So they introduce all the Saiyans, and he's like, okay, Goku fights the Saiyans, whatever. This second arc is like Goku fights Frieza. You don't believe that because like he's doing it with the help of people. He's not just like fighting one-on-one.
I mean, Goku goes Super Saiyan and defeats Frieza. And he finds it within himself. He finds an extra gear and goes there. Batman, at the end of the day, has Catwoman shooting Bane on the roof with a gun.
But that's Venom. The extra gear. That's just Batman utilizing like, oh, he's made these connections. Just like I'm thinking One Piece.
But that's what I mean.
And gets his crew. And
yeah. But is that like all Batman is? Is his crew?
It kind of sort of is. I won't lie. He has no business being on the Justice League. He's technically their guy in the chair, calling the shots and being like, Superman punched this, Wonder Woman punched that. He always relies on other folks. So I don't see that being super different, even with a Batman that's 6'10" and weighs 1,000 pounds. Yeah. Like he's still.
And genius isn't knowing all the answers; it's knowing how to get the answers. That's what Batman does. He knows how to get the answers.
That's what he did before. Now it's like time plus Batman equals protein shake.
What happens at the end of Nightfall?
The end of Nightfall is when he gets his back broken, and then Azrael takes over as Batman and
beats the shit out of Bane.
Yeah,
with his armor.
And Azrael beats the shit out of Bane. And then Batman beats the shit out of Azrael, right?
Yeah. Reclaims his... Because Azrael goes too far and turns into... Essentially, he turns into absolute Batman. He's...
This sounds pretty good. I wish you read that next. No, I just want to say, so he never really fights Bane then. Even in the big Bane arc. He never really fights Bane at the end.
Batman, he's had his route.
And then after Azrael beats the crap out of Bane, Bane gets weaned off the drug. So they get him off Venom, and then he goes on this soul search to basically find out who created him. And
because Bane's not really a truly bad guy. He's a level above all of it.
He's just a guy that wasn't getting the love because he kept hitting into the shift. So he took some drugs so that he could get it out of the baseball stadium.
I think there's a little bit more to Bane in the Absolute arc. I honestly think by the end of this, you could see Bane as a very, I'm not going to say sympathetic character, but you can see that he's a victim no more than a lot of the folks that he just experimented on. Like, that is the neat thing about the Rogues Gallery thus far that you're introduced to in the Absolute Batman. None of the bad guys that we know are kind of bad guys by choice. They're all monsters created by this Joker character behind the scenes pulling the strings. I think that's actually even more fascinating than making Batman 1,000 pounds and chugging Red Bulls. I think that the way that they're handling the villains, that's the most interesting thing about these issues.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's the whole Absolute Universe ethos, though. It's turning things on its head. It is a much darker horror story than traditional Gotham, which I imagine is still quite the horror show. The bad guys are monsters now, not necessarily because of their own choices, but because of Batman. But they're still absolutely horrifying. Look at the Clayface in this story. Look, there are all these sad, terrible stories, and it's like, oh, yuck. That's the fun of it, though. It's that, and it's everything turned up to 11. It's the manga violence, it's the manga aggression, it's the Batman who's ripping out his teeth and using them as brass knuckles, and pulling the thing off his chest, and nothing can stop him. And that's what you buy your ticket for.
I will have to say this, and not reading the next issue, I am terrified of the Joker before we get it. Just based on the first.
And you should be. All you have to do is read one more issue past this, and you get the Joker's origin, and it's pretty terrifying, to be honest. Last question before we get to our ratings for Absolute Batman Volume 2. This one starts with J.A., and anybody else that wants to throw in, they can add their 2 cents. Couple different artists on this book. In the first volume, I re-listened to our review, J.A. You absolutely lambasted that series for having that quote-unquote fill-in issue, the different artists and everything like that. With this, you get the 2 issues done by Marcos Martin with Mr. Freeze, and then you get the fill-in Bane issue by Clayman. Different because this was, at least it made sense in the way the story was told. You had a different artist for 2 issues that was setting up the Abomination story arc with Bane, but wasn't the Abomination story arc with Bane, so I'm fine with that. It wasn't like we're halfway through the story arc and then, oh shoot, we need a fill-in issue because we haven't finished what we started out to do, and even had to renumber the series because of that. And then you have a fill-in artist for a flashback issue where you're telling Bane's origin story. So even though it takes place in the middle of the Abomination story arc, at least it's a flashback scene. So
I thought the Marcos Martin was almost like an Archie comic. I thought it was too goofy or too cartoony. There's something about it. It didn't catch me.
Yeah, you are not alone in that. I remember when issues 7 and 8 came out, people reacted very negatively towards the Marcos Martin of it all. Andy knows this for sure. I love Marcos Martin. Sitting there behind my keyboard, shut your filthy mouths. This is wonderful.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, but it is a departure. If you're coming to Absolute Batman for Nick Dragotta, I get it. Marcos Martin is a very different flavor than Nick Dragotta. And for me, I didn't mind that choice, but I also think that wasn't the safest play on their part.
Yeah, because I even think the Clayman issue was much more within line of the Absolute Batman style that I think I was used to. So I didn't even notice that the artist changed all that much. In some of the more watercolor-esque, very abstract in some of the panels. It seems like a dream sequence where Batman gets his arms cut off.
I wasn't as crazy about that one.
I agree with Chad. It was the issue that confused me. Everything with the Bane flashbacks, everything that had to deal on Santa Prisco with, again, the girls walking around in bikinis, great stuff. Love that stuff. But then when
colored on shirts.
Yes, when they went back to the main story, then I was completely confused. I didn't know where we were and when this happened, and whether I didn't get it. It took me out of the story, to be honest.
It's a pretty easy story to get back in. It's just brutality. Endurance and pain. It's Mr. T. It's Clubber Lang.
You open the next issue and there he's with Killer Croc again. You're like, oh yeah, okay, now I remember.
Yeah, we're back.
So that whole last issue was all flashback.
All right. Well, one thing that's not a flashback but a flash forward is our rating section, because again, we got to keep this show going forward. So we've got a 1 out of 4 scale from J.A. Scott for these particular issues of Absolute Batman. What do you got for us this week?
So, depending on how much you like this book, you might be needing some dentures after rating this with 1 out of 4 teeth knuckles.
Oh.
I would hate to see Batman's dental bills. Come on now. That's terrible. Any case, we're going to start off with Ethan. I think of the 4 of us, he might be the most critical of these issues. I think this is I want to say this is a step back a little bit from the quality of the first 6 issues. The first 6 issues come out guns blazing and dump trucks
rattling down the street. This one's more of the how much can Batman endure before he doesn't actually grow at all. He just gets help from his buddies to beat Bane. I don't know. Sorry, like the Bane part driving me nuts. Like I was like, I'm done with this guy by the fourth or fifth issue. Like he's too omnipotent, too powerful for this particular book to land for me. But it's still worth reading 100%. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen down the line. Like I said, I'm terrified of seeing the Joker just because of what Bane can do. Like now we're talking about the big bad of the Batman universe coming down the pike. I am excited to see what's up for Volume 3, but this is a little bit of a step back for me. And like I said, the Marcus Martin art just didn't land with me, and I apologize for that. It kind of
apologize.
Well, I feel bad. I mean, it's still quality like art. It's just it took on a different tone from what I think I was expecting. So for me, it's a 3. It's a solid 3, and I think it's good. I can even go 3.25 if you think 3 is a little bit too low. I don't want to go too low on this because it's absolutely worth reading. It's just not as good as the first set of books.
Okay, J.A.?
I'm going to echo Ethan a bit. I think it's a 3. I like that it gets more into the mythology of these new Rogues Gallery and how they've been created. Laying it all at Joker's doors and Bane's door, I don't know if that's going to bite them in the butt later on or not. We shall see. Still waiting for the Ra's al Ghuls of them all to come out of the woodwork. We haven't seen them yet, have we?
No.
So that I know of.
That's interesting. I'm waiting for that. And but I like where it's going. It's interesting. It's fun playing with these set characters and giving them new life and new sort of perspective. Elseworlds turn to 11, if you will. Reading through it, you know that Batman's got plot armor, so he's obviously going to have to defeat Bane at some point. So you're reading to see how that happens. I felt that the trials that Batman went through did get a little bit gratuitous at times. They could have cut maybe one issue off of that arc of Abomination bits. I know why they didn't. Hint, it's because they want to sell the trades. But maybe a little bit less brutality and a little bit more nuance there at some points. I don't know. Not as good as the first arc because the first arc was shot out of the cannon. And this one, it's just more cannons. But sometimes noise for noise sake isn't as good as that first salvo.
Oh, geez. Come on, guys. Come on. This is still a 4. This is still a 4. This is still one of the best comic book series out on the market. There's a reason why people line up and they buy this every single month. This is great. Despite the fact that we had that Clayman issue and I was still confused, it still has Batman getting his arms chopped off by this grossly steroided out Bane. Like, it's still awesome. And the Clayman art is great. And I loved every single artist in this. I mean, you want to talk about a murderer's row of really good artists. Nick Dragotta, Clayman, Marcos Martin, they're lining them up. They're lining great talent up on this book. And you can tell that this is one of their flagship titles, right? Is it a slight step down from the 4 that was Absolute Batman Volume 1? Yes, but it's still a 4. And I will say that last issue, despite Batman getting help, he still cuts Bane's spine in half. He still has these awesome lines where, he's laying over Bane. You don't have use of your legs. Now you don't have use of your arms. How does that feel, jackass? Like, I was loving it. If you're really into this for just the revenge parts of your brain that are firing there, like the vengeance parts, this is good stuff. My favorite part of this is, again, the Alfred talking in the background, being like, I told him to do this. I told him to do this. Oh, he's biting off more than he can chew. And Batman's like, absolutely, I'm biting off more than I can chew. I'm a hungry boy, and I'll bite off as much as I damn well please. And I'll win. I'll win. As he says in this series, knock, fucking knock. I'm coming through regardless of whether you want me to or not. It's great. I love how he within 3 pages of seeing Selena Kyle too, they're already in the sheets. Don't mess around. It's just action, balls to the wall, testosterone. It's a 4. Keep reading. The next issue 15, that's when you get Joker. I was already reading into the Absolute Wonder Woman stuff. That's great. This series is firing on all cylinders. Chad?
So yeah, I'm somewhere between where I definitely felt the dips in this one. And I definitely felt when Bruce Wayne is imprisoned, like the endurance, like that was tough. That was tough for me as a reader. It gets pretty brutal. And do I think the highs are as high as the initial meeting this version of Batman and seeing him firing on all cylinders? I don't think so. But at the same time, after those slight dips, you build up to that fight with Bane where it's just that closed off arena and it's him and Bane. And it is so manga crazy. Everything you want is happening there in that moment. It's all built up to that. It all makes sense. And as Andy's alluded to, the excitement just continues from there. I'm not going to quite go to the 4. I'm going to give it a 3.75 just because I did feel like there were some times like where they slipped off the pedal a little bit, as opposed to the first trade. I didn't mind that fill-in issue there. This one, the Clayman one, got to me a little bit. I still think, though, the excitement at the end of the day, like there's a reason this is one of the most popular books in years. It has that energy. It has that vitality. It has creative people being creative in new and violent and gross ways that you just can't wait to see what's going to happen next. You can't see what monster somebody's going to turn into or what those monsters are going to do or how Batman's going to become the bigger monster to face the monsters in the first place. I don't know. It's all good stuff. So 3.75 for me.
All right, well, that's our review of Absolute Batman. Will Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice get his high marks from the Last Comic Shop crew? Stay tuned right after this commercial break for our review of that.
Hello, Last Comic Shop podcast listeners. It is George from Shortbox Summary. The only thing I like more than reading comics is collecting comics, and the only thing I like more than collecting comics is taking care of the comics I've collected. And there is no better place to get bags and boards for your favorite, heck, even your least favorite comics than BCW Supplies. You can get all the bags, boards, boxes, frames, and more that you need to help keep your comic collection in its best shape. Listeners of this podcast can enjoy 10% off their order with code LCSPOD. That's LCSPOD for 10% off your entire order. Keep it tuned to the Last Comic Shop podcast for the best in comic stock and the best in comic book supply savings, courtesy of BCW.
Hello, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
And we're the hosts of Capes on the Couch, the podcast where comics get counseling.
Superheroes don't always get to go home happy. That's where we come in.
We offer psychiatric and mental health evaluation of comic book characters.
We also chat with some of your favorite creators.
Al Ewing,
Erica Schultz,
Gail Simone,
Philip Kennedy Johnson,
Chris Claremont,
about their work on comics.
So check out all our episodes at capesonthecouch.com and follow us at Capes on the Couch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Hashtag
because comics.
Hey all, I'm Frank. Join me and my friends as we talk about all things geek. Here at Geek Freaks Podcast, we go over the weekly news of everything in geekdom, from movies to TV, to video games, and comic books. We also have a growing YouTube community. Join us as we go over everything in your geek life and share in the love of geekdom.
All right, kids, we are back. And remember we were talking about Absolute Batman, where he's stuck inside this prison and he's pulling out his own teeth and trying to use them to get out. Because all he wants to do is be done with this experience and move on. Well, now it's time for Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition.
I see what you did there, Chad.
Where you get to share some of those feelings, or at least I did.
This is therapy, Chad. This is therapy.
Oh my goodness, there's not enough. Not enough therapy for this one. But J.A., why don't you enlighten us on the creatives involved and who's responsible for this thing?
A lot of people. I'm just going to remind you, a lot of people worked on this. Zack Snyder directed the movie on a script from Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer, obviously based on the DC characters, starring Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Jesse Eisenberg as a very tech bro-y Lex Luthor with hair. Diane Lane played Martha, the Martha that's alive, not the Martha that's dead. Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White, Jeremy Irons as Alfred, Holly Hunter as a senator who gets blown up, and everyone's favorite Gal Gadot, her first appearance in the DCEU as Wonder Woman, and I think not even a year after this came out that we got probably the high watermark of the DCEU experience with the original Wonder Woman movie.
We also get Negan. Negan's in the movie too.
Right.
Yeah. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
He's
Jeffrey
also
Dean
in
Morgan.
Watchmen.
Yeah, playing Thomas Wayne, who looks like he's about to punch the robber, shrugs. Really more violent Thomas Wayne than what we're
He was
used to.
uncredited, by the way.
And I swore that guy that lost his legs was Looney Bin Jim. I had to look it up like 7 times because I was like, I know this guy. He's overacting.
No, not going back to Punisher Warzone. We left that movie in the dust. I can only take one bad movie at a time. Please.
I guess that's where we should start. It was Punisher Warzone, a better movie than Batman versus Superman.
We have to start with the 10-cent synopsis, and I've been blessed enough to give it. This is kind of like 3 movies. Basically, a movie about the aftermath of Superman being on Earth. People don't know whether they can trust Superman. He's got all this power or whatever, especially people in the government, especially Lex Luthor. They're trying to find kryptonite to kill him. Lex Luthor is in this to be a bad guy and to smear Superman's good name in the public by setting him up for crimes in other countries and blowing up people in the Senate and shrugs, whatever. That's the first story. That's story number 1. Story number 2 deals with Batman's reaction to Superman being on the Earth and being like, what the hell? This guy's huge. There's all these things I don't understand. I'm gonna put on armor and get the kryptonite too, and then fight because Lex makes them. I don't know. That's plot number 2. Plot number 3 deals with the initial formation of the Justice League when the Trinity comes together: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, to fight Doomsday, which results in the death of Superman as a result of him having to wield a kryptonite spear, which I totally didn't believe because he wouldn't be able to fly 10 feet with a piece of kryptonite that huge attached to a pole. But that's the 10-cent synopsis. Superman's dead at the end. Batman's like, yeah, we need to make more Justice League, and if you really want to continue, there's 4 more hours that you can watch in the Justice League Snyder cut of that. So,
which is the only one you should watch, because that actually is a better movie than the Abomination that was the theatrical release of.
It was half Zack Snyder, half Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon added, yes.
Right. Yeah.
Look, I know that there's going to be, over the next couple of minutes, we're going to bandy around how bad we thought this movie was and how it didn't make a lot of sense and how Doomsday doesn't get a wang, which I really thought was upsetting for how big he was. Like that he didn't have a colossal schlong.
That's what you're concerned about.
Well, because he shows up and I was watching with my wife and my wife's like, was he wearing a diaper? Like, what is he, like, he's completely nude. Like, you would think that he, like, and I was just like, I don't know.
He had no reproductive organs. It threw me off, too, because it looks weird.
It looks super
That's not what
weird.
Doomsday is here for. He's not here to reproduce.
Listen.
So,
The one thing I liked about this movie was I did think that there was a somewhat okay movie buried under everything, and it was the first of the 3 movies I mentioned in the 10-cent synopsis. I think there's an actually okay movie here if you just talk about Superman. If you just talk about Superman, people's reaction to Superman, people trying to set up Superman as a bad guy, Lex Luthor trying to weasel his way into the government and make Superman out to, because that's what Lex likes to do. And if you have all that lead up to a battle between Superman versus Doomsday, despite Superman being a colossal dick in this movie, which I never liked, at least that movie makes sense. So if you cut out all the Batman stuff, if you cut out all the Justice League stuff, if you cut out everything else, and you just follow the Superman storyline, I think that's an okay movie. That's my silver lining.
I want to kind of push back on that a little bit, because we also did this as a date night, my wife and I, and we were making fun of it at the first 30 minutes of it, and we're just cracking jokes. It was oddly enough, an hour and a half in, we were both just captivated by this movie and taken in by just all of the sheer bravado, gravita, whatever. We just bought in. I think I come back from this movie maybe there's some good in this somewhere. And I really like the Batman stuff. I like Batman's drive, makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's also a dick too. Scott Snyder needs to work on his likability of his characters, because he does not think too highly of any of these Holy Trinity. I mean, maybe other than Wonder Woman, but he basically treats her as window dressing. But Batman's motivation in this makes sense. He did see this Superman crazy dude that he doesn't really understand either just smash through this huge city, smash down one of his buildings. Should I trust this guy? Is he trustworthy? So
I just don't understand. If Metropolis is like San Francisco, then Gotham is like friggin' Oakland across the bay. I don't understand. It's not like Superman would have to go very far to mess with Batman, or vice versa. There's probably an MTR crossing. They can probably take the subway. That really gets me. That, and why the heck does Lois Lane throw the spear in the water and then 5 minutes later have to dive into the water to get the spear, and then throws the spear away again, and then gets the spear? This movie frustrates me. It frustrates me on the most basic level, because those things don't make any sense to me.
No, the thing that doesn't make any sense to me is why Batman would have the Superman Buster armor and then just completely ditch it when there's a huge giant Doomsday walking around. Just wear the armor, dude. And you made the point earlier, Batman should just stay in the chair for the Justice League. Yeah, you can see that during the fight with Doomsday when he's totally outnumbered 100%. He's what
am I going to do? Throw a Batarang at him? Throw some smoke pellets? What the are you going to do, Batman?
I will say that after Superman dies and you have those funeral moments and the newspaper and the world in shock, that kind of did remind me of when they killed Superman in the comic books, and you had this regular news covering it, not just CBS or NBC, but local news, going out to a comic book shop and seeing people line up to get that black poly bag. That did have a bit of some nostalgia in me and moments. There were moments in this movie that were really good. I think one of the big problems with it was Zack Snyder, whoever was producing it and putting it together, had these classic comic book moments they wanted to capture. They wanted the Superman coffin. They wanted Batman and Superman from Dark Knight Returns facing off against each other with Batman in his big armor. They wanted these moments, but unfortunately in the comic books, these are totally different storylines that aren't really related to each other. The Doomsday story doesn't relate to the Dark Knight Returns story, which doesn't relate to anything that's going on with Tech Bro Lex Luthor, which I don't want to get into because it's just a different take.
No, so here's the thing, and I've said this before. Zack Snyder is a very sound cinematographer. And like Jay alluded to, there are certain shots, certain moments, Batman's whole look throughout the course of this movie, that stuff is really well done. What Zack Snyder is not is a storyteller. And that's where everything in this movie falls apart because nothing is earned. You have the faux seriousness of Superman as a god on Earth and blah, 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 combined with all the campy elements of the plot. They just don't combine in a way that's satisfying, right? And then midway through the movie, when they actively serve you up a jar of piss and make that one of the taglines, no, buddy, you lost me. And I don't know if this movie is the cause or the symptom of so many things that have gone askew in society. But for me, I had a totally different experience. I tried to watch this movie, and I'm watching this R-rated Superman movie where I'm like, okay, we've had the James Gunn version since then. Like, you know, we have this wholesome Superman who's all about hope and kindness and, you know, all these things that I feel like Superman should be. I should be okay with there being this is like an Elseworlds version of Superman. I even eventually came around to the Zack Snyder Justice League, saying it, you know, was good for what it was. But then my problem was my daughter came downstairs while I'm watching this movie. There's all this gunplay. She shows up about 2 minutes before the pee scene. And I'm just so mad that there were a generation of kids that this was the Superman movie they got to watch. This was what the executives of Warner Brothers thought was a good plan for Superman. And like I said, there are parts about, you know, the Batman design and everything. That's great. But of the 3 movies that this was, I don't think any of them were good. Seeing Superman 1 through Batman's eyes, no thanks. By the way, all of Man of Steel, I hate it so much. I hate Pa Kent. It's in here in the mountain where it's like, you know, there's one time I tried to do something good and save the farm, but I just ended up killing this other farm. What?
Yeah.
What? That's Superman's inspiration? And like, Pa Kent is so wrong. Amy Adams, I feel bad for Amy Adams because there's a part of me that likes Amy Adams, but at the same time, like, oh, this is why you weren't good enough to be Pam in The Office. You're not good enough to be Lois Lane here. You don't fit the type of Lois Lane.
Ouch.
And then Henry Cavill as Superman, I think he could have been a good Superman, but what he had to work with was just so stupid. So f***ing stupid the entire time. I just couldn't do it.
To piggyback on JA's, in which they were desperately trying to set up set pieces in the most cattywampus way possible. The big problem for me in this movie is the Batman versus Superman fight, just because it seems so contrived. They kidnap Martha. So again, Superman goes to Batman, and I'm like, okay, fine. World's greatest detective should be able to help him find his mom. He's going to ask for help. Great. So like he initially lands, and he's just like, hey, Batman, I kind of sort of need your help. And sure, Batman's pissed. You're walking into this situation with somebody that is super pissed at you. Like, he doesn't continue talking to Batman. He immediately goes to punching Batman. That's going to really de-escalate this situation with Batman, is punching him. To Chad's point, that's not my Superman. He knows he's the strongest guy there. He knows he is. And he wants this guy's help. Why would you not, like, say, fine, beat the tar out of me. I don't care. But at the end of the day, I just need you to listen to me. Like,
or since they've already established he can move fast enough to save Lois Lane from half a planet away in a split second, he can just hold Batman down and give him wet willies until he decides he's going to listen.
That too. But what I'm trying to say is, like, you don't de-escalate a situation by punching someone.
Real quick, just jumping in on that. What was Lex Luthor's plan? He had Superman and Batman fight. Then the victor was just going to be taken to Doomsday and crushed anyways, or Doomsday was his backup plan? But Doomsday was already
the backup
in effect.
plan. When man can't kill God, then the devil has to kill God.
No,
so
he has the
Doomsday.
timer. So he was gonna resurrect Doomsday anyway. So he was gonna.
Yeah, that is true. Like, he had 2 plans, and it didn't matter which one.
And then at the end, when he's crazy in prison, he's like, yeah, but now all the Darkseid and all of his minions are coming to Earth, and they're going to destroy it. Woohoo! I'm like, that's not Lex Luthor.
The bell can't be unrung. Ding, 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 ding. You know what the greatest lie ever told was? This is worth 3 hours of your goddamn time. Biggest piece of...
I love Batfleck. I love the action scene. Like that scene in the warehouse where he takes on all the guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool as a Batman scene. Won't lie. But then he's like, I'm a friend of your son's. And she's like, oh yeah, the Caped. And I'm like, no. First off, you wouldn't joke about that. You were about to kill the dude like 15 minutes ago. Later on, when he does die at Doomsday's hand, again, he was like, that was my original idea about an hour ago.
I will agree that the fight between the two, the Superman and Batman, was shoehorned in. Like, it shouldn't have happened. And when superheroes fight, it should be ugly because they shouldn't fight in the first place. And that's what I think I went back by with the Superman and Batman fight. I would just think it was guys trying to work through their demons, and maybe there's an arrogance about this. Is the way that
there is an arrogance about this.
And also, let's get to the other part of this movie, the third part, the shoehorn Justice League. That's crap. Like that cyborg thing, I think it haunted me for like the rest of my night. Like, I couldn't sleep after that sequence with Cyborg. Like, I wish like I didn't watch that. Like, I thought I was watching a smut film about how bad and like how violent. And I just want to cut that all out of this. And maybe even Wonder Woman didn't happen in this movie because Wonder Woman wasn't fully fleshed out. She was about to take that Turkish Airlines flight back to wherever she was flying from Gotham, or was it Metropolis? Do they have a shared airport?
They seem very close. You can take a helicopter really easily between the two cities. Yeah, no.
You can probably take a subway between the two cities. There's got to be mass transit links.
And what was the football game? Was that supposed to be like an analogy to the Superman will wipe the floor with Batman if they decide to fight? Like, don't even mess with Metropolis because they like lost like 99-0 or something. Am I reading too much into this stupid football game?
You're reading a lot of stuff, but we are all doing that. I didn't understand why all the power was supposed to be out in the city, yet there was tons of buildings with the lights on, like tons. Wasn't a blacked out city at all. Like, plenty of people had electricity. It was fine. Like, I
want to go back to what Chad said about when he crapped on Amy Adams, and I don't think that was well deserved. I think Amy Adams is a good actress, and I think there was a lot of good actors. And we were looking.
Name me a movie that she's good in. I'm with Chad on this one.
No.
I don't think she fits Lois Lane. She's
good in Enchanted.
Me an adult movie that she's good in.
American Hustle. That's good. That's an okay movie.
They should have just gotten Pam. Well, no, Lois is supposed to be whip smart, not real slow. This Lois was and all she wanted to do was make out.
And why is she throwing the spear in the water and then diving in to get it like 5 minutes later and then throwing it away and then having to get it again? I don't understand that.
Yeah. So, worst casting: Amy Adams or Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg.
The correct answer is actually Pa Kent, who's terrible. Every bit of Pa Kent was terrible.
I don't know. I was watching with Nicole, and Kevin Costner shows up, and she's like, finally, a real attractive man. I'm like, really? Over Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, you're taking Kevin Costner?
She's and like, then he killed her neighbor's farm, told Superman he's going to kill all the farms.
My point is that there were so many good actors and actresses in this movie, like Diane Lane, Jamie, Holly Hunter is a great actress. She's stuck in this movie. Henry Cavill, like Ben Affleck's a good actor, kind of. And
I like Ben Affleck movies. Argo.
I like Ben Affleck in this movie. I like Ben Affleck in this movie.
I don't mind Batfleck. Those action scenes with Batman, pretty good, yo. Like,
yeah, but all of his motivations are jingoistic. Like, I don't like aliens.
Well, fine. But if you just like saw like just the 10 minutes of that fight scene and nothing else, like on a YouTube clip, you would be like, oh, okay. That's pretty good.
As long as you don't understand why anybody's doing anything, as long as nothing needs to be earned, Batfleck is fine. But as soon as you add any sort of reasoning behind it...
Batfleck doesn't need to earn anything. He's rich. That's the whole point. Doesn't he say that?
Says that several times.
They say that for Justice League.
2 movies. If he's the world's greatest detective, wouldn't he have figured out Superman's ultimate motivations?
Wouldn't he figure out that Lex Luthor is guiding him to do all this stuff?
Unless he's being manipulated, which he could be.
He was.
I mean, is this a flawed? This is a flawed Batman, right?
Yeah, there's lots of flaws, Ethan. Flawed Batman. Flawed storylines. Flawed. Everything except the casting of Gal Gadot, which even that they try to screw up with that terrible Gal Gadot Wonder Woman theme. Oh.
I can't even believe the Amy Adams slander. What did Amy Adams do?
All right. We have talked enough about Amy Adams. We've talked enough about this. We got to get to ratings of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I'm sure, by the way, that Mikey Wood is listening to this episode and just tearing up pillows and throwing. It's different strokes for different folks, but we got a 1 out of 4 scale from J.A. Scott this week. What do we got?
1 out of 4 Marthas. Martha! Why did you say that name?
So stupid.
Why did you say her name?
Like, Batman's going to be there in the middle of a fight, and somebody says Martha. He's like, wait, are you talking about my mom? Is that my mom you're doing? Do you know my mom? She's been dead for a minute. They did the origin like they do in every movie at the beginning. Do you remember? That's my mom.
I do think it's dumb that he turns into like Superman's bro. We have the same mom name? Oh, well, you can't be all bad, I guess. Shrugs.
Yeah, what's your favorite cello? Oh, let's go do karate in the garage. Oh.
I'm going to go first. There's a lot going on in this, and there didn't need to be. I'm still going to stick to my original point that had they made this movie just about the Superman stuff, sure, I would have still thought that it was too dark for a Superman movie. Sure, I would have thought that Superman was a dick. But I will say it probably would have cut about at least an hour out of this entire movie. Removed Batman, if you removed Wonder Woman, if you removed all of the setting up the rest of the Justice League or whatever, if you just made it about Superman and Lex Luthor trying to kill Superman with Doomsday or discredit him, and I think you could have done that movie. And so those parts of the movie, when I just watched that, I give that movie a 2. Still too dark for a Superman movie. Still don't like it, but at least it was coherent. You dump all the rest of the stuff in, and then that brings it down. Still like a 1.
Why did you say that name?
It's a 1 because it's a convoluted mess of stuff that is just shoehorned in to set up other movies. You could have cut a lot of stuff out if you just told a more concise story just about what happens if people don't like Superman. J.A.
At the beginning of the movie, there were 2 Marthas, and then one Martha gets shot, so there's only one Martha left, and that's how this movie is. It's one Martha. Why did you say that name? It's the 3rd worst DCEU movie, so I don't remember what I gave Wonder Woman 1984 movie, but it's better than that movie, and we can all agree it's better than Black Adam. So I gave those ones higher grades than this. This deserves at least equal to them because it's better than those 2. But
Ethan.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to be the most generous out of anybody because I was leaning towards a 2, but I don't know if I can justify a 2. I think it's got to be it's 1.5.
Why did you say that name?
It's a captivating movie. It's worth watching. Like if you want to watch Batman be a total badass, like there's no better scene than him saving Martha. So I was waiting for that scene to come, and I was like, I know the scene's there. And then I had to wait a really long time to get there, but it was worth it. So watch it on YouTube when you can just clip that part out, or you can clip out any of the other cool stuff that Zack Snyder does, because he does do a lot of cool set pieces. He just doesn't make a good movie. And then adding an additional hour is not going to remedy that.
This is not fun. That's the problem with it, was Zack Snyder would occasionally try to have fun. I'm like, no, you don't get to have fun after you just served me a warm jar of piss and made that an important plot point in your movie. For me, I'm going to go 0.5.
Why did you say that name?
just because there was a lot of potential here. I mean, Amy Adams was good and Enchanted. She's not fit for Lois Lane, and I feel bad for Amy Adams because now she's never going to live up to Pam. She's never going to live up to Lois Lane. She's got a lot of stuff she's got to think about every night, along with those horses that Pa Kent hears while he sleeps. But I like the casting of Gal Gadot. I like the visuals of Batfleck. And I do think Ben Affleck could have been a good, older, dickish Batman. I just wish that there were storytelling chops behind it. I was so bored by the time the third act came around. And, we're fighting CGI Doomsday. And, it was such a chore. But I'm not going to go zero because it's a thing.
Oh, come on. You gotta go dud on this one.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think he's exercised some of his demons. I think
you made me feel bad for Amy Adams.
Why is there that scene in the middle of the movie with the nightmare and the I mean, I guess they're setting up the next one, but why? Why?
I can tell you why that is, because Darkseid had killed Lois Lane and Superman had given into fear.
I honestly thought it was a dream to justify getting kryptonite. Bruce Wayne dreamt that whole thing because, he saw what the menace of Superman he had imagined in his mind. It was now I have to justify getting this weapon before Lex Luthor does.
I guess. Cool scene with the Batman and the Duster. Like the Batman and the Duster. Again, if you just take that scene out and you just watch it on YouTube, you're like, all right. This movie was built for YouTube clips. You just need to not watch them all together.
That's what I said. It's a good movie for YouTube. Yeah, no, my wife appreciated the Ben Affleck comically death-defying six-pack. Getting himself riled up to fight Superman. Pulling that tire. Let's go.
That scene made no sense to me because it's not like working out is going to help him overcome Superman.
Just getting pumped up. He's getting the juice. Serious. One thing that we're serious about is the Last Comic Shop and making sure that you tune in for the rest of 2026. And you can do that by rate, reviewing, and subscribing over at www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com. This is the end of Movie May, but it is not the end of movies that we are covering on this show. In just 2 weeks, we are back with another movie when we're covering the Masters of the Universe movie, plus a Masters of the Universe comic book, just in 2 weeks. And then after that, we've got the Supergirl movie and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, the new Spider-Man movie coming out in early August. That's going to be awesome. And eventually, hopefully, despite all the layoffs, we're still going to get Avengers Doomsday at the end of 2026. Regardless, plenty of movies as well as past movies, including our multi-pack. Make sure you're checking that out. 6 episodes of the Last Comic Shop from past movie mayhems, including things like V from Vendetta and The Marvels. Remember The Marvels, guys? That was a movie. Atomic Blonde's in there. Some good stuff. Make sure that you're checking out all over there at www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com.
And there are no recommendations this week other than to get out to bcwsupplies.com and use that promo code LCSPOD for 10% off your purchase. And Absolute Batman. Don't forget about Absolute Batman. That's a fun one. That's the hottest book out there going. That and more waits for you at your local comic shop, so make sure you check those folks out today.
Check out the other Absolute book, Absolute Superman. I just started reading that myself. It's really good. And Absolute Wonder Woman's fantastic, as Andy said.
Yeah, Martian Manhunter, they play with some stuff in there. You have the Martian vision. You have to look through the pages. It's good times.
Is Martian vision like Valiant Vision, where you could...
It's better. You don't even need the glasses.
Oh, yeah, you don't need no special glasses. But what people do need is all that fantastic merch that you can get with all those Last Comic Shop logos, right, J.A.?
That's right. We sell T-shirts, coffee mugs, tote bags. And if you're beefing up, you can get them in like double XL. So you and Meatball Batman would be perfect.
Or the opposite, right. Extra small to show off the gun.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
What you definitely have to do is take a freaking kryptonite loaded spear and stab through that 5-star review, baby. Get us to the top of the charts. Subscribe today on all of your podcasting platforms or visit our website, www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com. We're going to be doing some great movie reviews. We're going to be doing this all next year, where hopefully, fingers crossed, we got the Legend of Zelda movie and Legend of Zelda comic. Let's go, baby. I'm ready.
It's going to be huge.
Or next year is also the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. They're releasing the original theatrical version, so maybe we can revisit the Star Wars.
No, come on. That first 6-issue arc, the movie adaptation done with the Howard Chaykin art. Yeah, nobody knew what anybody looked like. We're just making people up. But one thing that we don't make up, we love the fact that you listen to our show every week, and we hope you come back next week. Until then, I was the host with the most, Danny Larson. I was joined by Jay Scott, Chad Smith, and Ethan Larson. And we hope that you stay safe, stay Marthying. Martha.
No, it's not a word. It shouldn't be a plot point in a movie either. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I need to beat up this tire.
Justice for Amy Adams.
You were overly harsh on her.
American Hustle was good, I guess.
She was good in that when she was that drunk girl.
She's good in Arrival.
She'll never be Pam.
Comic Shop Podcast was a 2026 Black Angus production.